Hello, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Many Mistakes to Go. Okay, before I start the actual episode, I am so sorry I skipped last week. I think I did preface that I may or may not be able to record, and then I was like, oh yeah, I will be. Turns out I was not because I got a new laptop. Um, so it took longer than expected to get said laptop because I ordered a refurbished laptop that never came from Best Buy. So now I was like, are you kidding me? I had to get that refunded and then buy myself. I don't know if y'all can. Is this a good way to do it? Hold on. If y'all can see, it's the MacBook Air. I think I did pretty good with showing y'all. I definitely am gonna have it on a vlog. Probably, I'll definitely have it in the title, like new MacBook or whatever. But anyway, so I had to wait for like that to come in and then move all my files and all that stuff. So it was a time. But I'm back and I am ready. I believe my last podcast episode I did record in this room. So this is my office. We are still working on it. Because we decided my office was like the last room on like the priority list and the kitchen was first. Because the kitchen should be first, by the way, which is what I've realized. Well, technically kitchen or bathroom. For me, it was the bathroom. I got my bathroom done literally ASAP, and then my girlfriend and I worked on the kitchen and dining area and the living room and the coffee bar area. We still have a lot to go, but for the majority, everything is in the room it's supposed to be. There's just a lot of things that are still in boxes or bags, but we are trying to take it slow and steady, which I totally get because, like, my girlfriend and I are still working our full-time 40-hour jobs, and we're still, like, getting at it. So, I don't know if that is a pimple or what. I need to wash my face, clearly. I washed it yesterday and like put stuff on it, but it feels dry. So I'm gonna have to like focus on that. But I guess y'all get to see a lovely red mark the entire time of this podcast if you are watching the video version. But anyway, I think that's enough for life updates. I feel like they're all kind of the same in the sense that my girlfriend and I are still trying to figure out where everything goes. I think by the end of this week or next week will be good. So like before October is my hopes. Because my girlfriend is leaving this week. No. Is she? No, she's not. She still has to work this weekend. So she's leaving next week to go hang out with her family in Tennessee. And I have, like, no PTO. I have a very complicated job when it comes to PTO. The policy is just not it. It's, like, 1 week of PTO. And, of course, I use that on, like, doctor's appointments and stuff like that. So I was like, you know what? If I'm going to have this job for now, that's just how it's going to be. And I can be thankful that I even have PTO, even though it's not the greatest. And also just be thankful that, like, I have a job that pays decently for the area, and know that I will eventually work towards a job with better PTO, better benefits, stuff like that. So for right now, it's not the greatest. It kind of sucks because I want to travel with my girlfriend and be able to do the things that she does. But I did take some time off the first weekend of October to go to ACL with her. So she has 2 weeks off. But it's really hard for her to get time off. She has like all this time off, but like no ability to use it because like she'll literally have to schedule it like a year in advance, like to even get it. Okay, that might be a little dramatic, but point being is it's very hard for her to get time off. So I get it. But she has a ton of it. So I'm like, use it, girl, because I can't. I don't. But like having 2 days, off is like nothing because she works Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So even if she were to like take time off to spend it with me, it would be Saturday, Sunday. Oh my God. I don't like that. It's giving like what it happened. It's giving like what happens with like iPhones and like FaceTime and like pictures. I don't like it. That was so weird. But okay, I guess that's enough time being off topic. I feel like we need to get into today's episode, if anything. Thank you for laughing with me and letting me talk my shit. But the art of solo travel, what it's like to travel the world by yourself. So I don't want to say I don't think I'm the best person for this because I have only gone on one trip by myself. However, that's more than a lot of people have done, so I have to like tell myself that. But I went to Italy, and this was 2 years ago, so bear with me. My memory is absolutely shit. But I do remember some things. So one of my friends from Connecticut, actually, ironically enough, I don't even know if I want to say this. I guess I will just say it because it's my podcast. Like, who cares what other people think? But my ex-boyfriend, Jeff, he had a friend named Miranda that I met her through him. And after our breakup, I guess he severed ties. I don't exactly know the whole story, but like her and I still like follow each other on Instagram and stuff like that. So I'm assuming that sorry guys, I got distracted. There's people walking outside my window. Okay. No. So, like, I'm assuming we're friends, or we're at least cool acquaintances, whatever. So, I mean, to be honest, I was always the one to, like, force him to, like, hang out with friends and, like, go out. So, I feel like his friends, at least some of them, were more my friends than his friends because, like, he just wanted to hang out with me most of the time, and he would, like, talk shit about some of his friends, not all of them, but I was like, I like want to like meet your friends because at this time when I first started dating him, I didn't really have many friends because I was in a relationship that like was pretty controlling and I didn't really have many friends, and the friends that I did have during that time in my relationship, like they weren't the greatest for me. But anyway, with all of that being said, she told me, so her name is Miranda. I'll just say it because I don't think I'm famous at all. So, like, who's gonna, like, go through my page and, like, look up this information? Nobody. I'm literally, like, just a rando, like, chatting on YouTube. I'm sorry. I have to, like, laugh at things because it's so silly. Like, I'm like, oh my God, like, what if these people that I'm talking about, like, don't want to be talked about? But then I'm like, even if I do share content, like, it's not gonna reach that many people, I don't think, because, like, I have, 38 subscribers on YouTube, and at most, 11,000 followers on TikTok. Like I'm not getting like the whole world knows about my life. Like I am just some girl that is a vlogger and a podcaster and just does this shit because it makes her happy. Like I'm not like in it, like I'm not like a content creator. I just enjoy creating content. So there's that. But anyway, her name is Miranda. Back to the beginning. I might have slight developmental disorders, who knows. But her name is Miranda, and she told me about, it's called EF Ultimate Break. So Jeff and I, when we were together, were planning on going to Italy together. So we were going to go to Florence and Venice. Venice? No, we skipped out on Venice. It was originally Florence, Venice, and Rome. However, that trip did not have enough people, so it got canceled. So then we were moved to a different trip, and it was Rome, Florence, and then Greece, a couple of places in Greece. Now, that was going to be my first outside travel experience, other than like the Bahamas at like 11 years old with my family. So this was like the first time I was like traveling out of the country, and it was gonna be me and him and then like a group of people, because that's how it works. Like you sign up and it's just a group of people you've never met. We break up probably, I want to say like 2 weeks to like a month before. Yeah, I want to say like approximately a month before we're supposed to go on the trip, we break up. And it was a blessing in disguise because obviously a whole lot of shit has happened, and I'll get into that in the podcast episode. But it was a blessing in disguise, and I ended up still going, and he got his money back. So I don't know how Avery and Soph didn't have the ability to get their money back. It made me think about how they were like not able to refund their tickets. But then again, it might have not been through an agency. It might have been like some other way. But like, since, I mean, it kind of makes sense because I still paid for like my portion of the room. So it was probably enough money, I suppose. Like, the room was still being rented out by me. So whether he came or not didn't really make a difference. It was just the money that was put into it. So I have no idea. Maybe he didn't get the money back, but I'm pretty sure he did. What do I know? Anyway, I essentially went by myself. I said, fuck it. I like took the vacation days. I still want to go. I like need to just have this experience for myself. And it's even better now because now it's like a solo trip, right? Like I might be in a group of people, but like essentially I am navigating that airport by myself. I am gonna have my own room. Like it's going to be a different experience, but I'm still gonna see like how things go. So I was like, all right, let's do it. So I packed my bags. Mind you, I actually still had some stuff going on because, like, obviously Jeff and I broke up, and then I hung out with a bunch of friends. I spent a lot of time with friends, but I'm not kidding you, the night before, I have my phone up for receipts so that I can show you guys, like, everything that happened during the trip. The night before I met Kaylani, I literally went to her concert in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and I told Kaylani, I was like, I just went through a breakup. I'm going to Italy literally tomorrow, and I was just like, I just felt the need to like trauma dump almost. I don't know. I guess my thought was just like, it felt so good to be there and like get my mind off of all of this shit and like actually meet her. Like this was something I was looking forward to since 2016. Cause like I discovered who Kaylani was in like 2016. And then 2022, I finally got to go to a concert. Okay, so the people that walked down earlier that I saw walked back up, and the dog started barking because they must have like heard or like smelt the dog that they were walking, so I had to like stop. But anyway, Kehlani. Now Kehlani used to have she, they in their bio. I have no idea if Kehlani still goes by she, they, but I'm gonna go with that in hopes that that's still accurate because it's no longer on Instagram, so I'm gonna hope. But anyway, just to let you guys know, so if I say she or they or like whatever, I'm referring to Kehlani in this instance. But anyway, so where was I? Kehlani was like, you're literally gonna go on this trip and like forget all about them and you're gonna have the best time. And it felt so good because like I just like came up to Kehlani and I was like, I had no idea what I was gonna say, and I just wanted to say like how much like their music meant to me, and that like I was going through like such a rough time and that this tour date could not have come at a better time. That's basically what I was trying to say, but I don't remember what I ended up saying. It could have been mumbo jumbo for all I know. But I was just like, I'm going to Italy by myself, and like I had a really bad breakup, and like God, I can only imagine I must have like been like a mess. But Kehlani, she was like, you're not even gonna remember who they are, like you're gonna have the best time. And like I just felt so happy and calm, and like, come on, I got a selfie. Oh, that felt so good, because like I had wanted to see this artist for so long, like discovered her from Mark frickin' Basie, which is so funny because usually it's the other way around. But she had featured on one of Mark's songs, and I had been a Mark Basie fan for like as long as I can remember, probably like 2014-ish. I have no idea. It's been a minute, right? And she was featured on Lock It Up, and I heard her voice and I was like, oh, okay, she got those vibes. Little did I find out, I think they were both raised in the Bay Area, and I like just started going through her music, and I think that's around the time, was that before the whole Demi incident? That was before she toured with Demi, I think. I think Demi Lovato came a little bit later, and everybody freaked out about that. But this was before she was like a gay icon. Me and this girl that I'm no longer friends with were like obsessed with her, loved her music, always blasting it. And I remember like just like, I don't know what it was. Maybe it's the fact that we were both closeted gays. I have no idea. But I had this instant connection with Kehlani from like listening to the music and everything like that. And mind you, Kehlani wrote First Position in like what, 2016 or 2018 or like somewhere along that lines. Girl wrote First Position, and you're gonna tell me that men, no, I'm just kidding. But it was just like one of those things where it was just like, closet was glass, right? But, okay, I'm sorry. I had to just, like, go on that rant. I swear I have, like, ADHD or something because I just will go back and forth. So if you can follow a podcast or a vlog, you might want to go get checked out. Oh, my goodness. But, okay, so anyway, it was so fun. I had the best time at the concert, took all the videos, everything. Now we're talking about the solo travel trip. We're finally there. I just had to say that like it was so crazy how the timing worked out for me, because like that breakup happened. My best friend was visiting from Florida. I got to see him. All of my friends, like when they had off from work, they were coming over, they were supporting me, everything, right? And then I had this solo trip planned, or like I had this trip planned and now I get to go solo. That's kind of the way it is. But anyway, so I'm navigating the airport. I have like a layover in, I don't even remember where, which was crazy because I had to do text updates. Thankfully, I did text updates, but there was a gate change. So I had to like run across the entire airport and figure out where the new gate was. And thankfully, I had like seen it before everyone else had, because they like I guess send the text before they announce it, which whatever. But I had seen that text, right? So I had to I was like, great, now I have to find where this is. And like I've never been in this airport. It's literally abroad. Like I want to say it was in the UK, but I could be completely wrong. I really don't remember where this airport was at all. Actually, I don't know if it was in the UK. But that's besides the point. It was somewhere, and I was just like, oh my freaking God, like what is going on? So finally I was like, all right, everything's gonna be okay, right? Like manifesting, like everything will be okay. I will find it. I find my gate. And then I arrive in Florence. And mind you, I do meet some people because they like pick up in groups. So I like got to meet some people, and there was like outings. So like I got to like kind of find people that I hung out with or aligned with in some way, shape, or form. So I like took a picture of where we were staying, my euros from American dollars, and I explored Florence with a couple of people. I believe it was the people that I like was at the airport with, if I'm not mistaken, like who I got picked up with. I could be wrong, but I had like a group of people. So, I went and got a gelato shake, and that was amazing. It was so good. The tour guide had gotten us little bags. Little did I know I was never going to go to Greece, and I'll get into it, but I picked this one out of all the bags, and I thought it was so cute. I got dressed up for the dinner, which I still have that dress. I love that dress. I cannot wait to like go overseas again and like wear cute outfits. Like I am waiting for the day. This is me when I'm like a little drunk and have a Snapchat filter. This is all of the people who were on that trip in front of the hostel. And then there's some of us that went out for a drink afterwards. And me cheersing. I did have such a fun time. That was like the first night. It felt so great. Like everyone wanted to go and party, but I think like the long flight, I was just overwhelmed. I was tired. Like I'm a type 1 diabetic, so like my energy does not run as well as it used to, I should say. But I was having a great time, and I like took pictures of all the sites on tour. Like, oh, here's a video. It was like the little, body of water. I can't say the water was the cleanest. And there was a little, a gondola at the bottom, but you can't see it. Hold on. Let me find the exact point in the picture so you can actually see it. It's towards the beginning. Okay, it's there towards the beginning. There we go. So I was taking in the sights and the architecture and the food. Like, look at that gelato. Yum. I was taking everything in, and really If I'm being honest, I was so focused on my own feelings towards this trip that I feel like there were some moments where I was able to appreciate where I was, but there were other moments where I didn't appreciate where I was, which is why I'm so excited to go overseas again whenever it may be, because I really want to take in everything that I can. And like I took as many pictures as possible because like how many times am I really going to go to Italy like in my lifetime? Maybe once or twice. Like I need to be practical unless I somehow win the lottery and win like over 500 million or whatever. Like I win a crazy amount of money like in the millions and I can just drop everything and travel. Like it's likely that like I'm not going to visit as many times as I would like to, right? So I was so focused on like, you know, there was gossip about like there's this one guy who like dropped out. Where is he? And I'm like, that's my ex. Like, can we not talk about this? And like all this stuff. Like I'm going through a breakup and like a horrible time and like I'm just trying to like have a solo trip, and it was very bittersweet because I even though I might have had love for Jeff, I don't think I could have ever loved him the way that he loved me. And I think that was a harsh realization that I came to later on, because he had always done so much for me, and it always had felt like something was missing. Like I never felt complete in the relationship. And that was something that like I hadn't discovered. So I'm sitting here thinking, I don't want to say thinking I'm heartbroken. Like of course, like I had been with this person for years and like I thought that, you know, there was this plan in my head of like, I'm going to get married, I'm going to have kids, like kind of the heteronormative life, I guess, like pushed upon me. Like I was just like imagining that's just how it was going to go. And, you know, I think I was trying to come to that realization and many other realizations that like I hadn't found yet. But this trip it gave me clarity, and it gave me almost just being away from where I was like raised. I don't want to say born and raised because I was born in Florida and then I moved to Connecticut. So obviously, just I think the amazing part about solo travel is that you are able to get away from your environment and the environment that you know, and you discover yourself as a person when you travel overseas. You discover how you handle tough situations, how you navigate everything, whether it's actual navigation, like, you know, maps and whatever, or it's like, how do you navigate having a conversation in a different language, or how do you navigate, like, do you just stick to English and hope that because it's a touristy area, like, they're gonna speak English? Like, how do you problem solve in different scenarios is basically how solo travel is, like, how it helps, I guess. So obviously, like, I'm discovering like who I am. I'm discovering how I navigate situations, how I talk to new people, how I become friends with new people, because at this point I've had friends for years, or maybe a couple months, or maybe a year, you know, because after I had like started dating Jeff, I made more and more friends, and I was trying to create a life, you know, by having friends that were not from high school, because like I said, I was in kind of a controlling relationship before Jeff. So all of my friends either like we just fell apart, or like, He didn't want me to see them, so I stopped being friends with them, whatever the case may be. And I think I just like really wanted to create a life, and it was hard because I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what to do. And I was on like Bumble BFF and like meeting people and all this stuff. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'm meeting people, I'm getting to know people, I'm like figuring out who I am, what I like. But I was doing this in a relationship. And not to say that you shouldn't, but I think I was trying to kind of almost push for my independence in that relationship when I wasn't giving him the time of day. And I think that should have been a sign that, like, I can't form relationships with men in that way. But that's besides the point. It was always like there needed to be an excuse to like not spend quality time with him. And there was obviously times where I would spend quality time with him, but I think the more that we were in a relationship, the more it was like I loved the idea of a heterosexual relationship, and I loved the idea of like having a relationship more than I actually liked being with him as a person, because I felt like I was always trying to change him, or I wasn't happy with him. And obviously, he might be right for the right person, or he might be right for a different person, but I hadn't come to the realization that the reason why we weren't compatible is because we weren't compatible. Like, the reason why things weren't going well, I should say, is because we weren't compatible, is because that's not ever what I wanted, and I felt like I was trying to make him into somebody he was not, instead of loving him for him, which these days, like, being gay and being out, like, I love Larissa for exactly who she is. I don't want to change her. I might be like, oh, you would look cute with curly hair, or you would look cute with longer hair, like, but I love her exactly the way she is. If she never changed herself, I think she's the hottest girl I've ever seen. Like, that's just how it is. Like, I can say that I love her for exactly who she is. I might have preferences, but I love her for exactly who she is. Whereas with Jeff and with guys that I've dated, I've always wanted to change them, and I can't say that I've loved them for exactly who they were. It was more of I loved them for their potential. I loved them for who I wanted them to be. I loved them for this imaginary person that I created that I thought that I could mold them to be. Like, that's not love. I'm sorry, but it's not. And I think I also loved how he took care of me, because I was in a controlling, abusive relationship of manipulation, of sexual assault, of, manipulation, of emotional abuse, of mental abuse, that like I was just so happy to be taken care of emotionally, physically, my diabetes, stuff like that, that I didn't realize I was loving him for what he could give me versus who he was. So I think it's tough, because I don't want to say I was still young, because I mean it was my early 20s, so I was still young. You don't really like know or develop these things until you find yourself as a person. And when we broke up, I was reaching 25 at the time. So like I was fully developing my brain. I was becoming the person that I am today. It was like there were so many pivotal changes. And I know that they say like your Saturn return when you turn closer to 30 is going to be another whole life change experience that you're going to go through, and who knows what's going to happen then. But I feel like I have gone through such pivotal changes during this time that I was like, wow, like I'm realizing that like I don't like him this way. I don't want to marry him. I couldn't picture walking down the aisle and seeing him on the other side. And these are realizations that I had like rose colored glasses on. So I did not see these things until I stepped out of the relationship and reflected on that relationship. So I think that's another reason why solo travel is so great, because you are able to come to realizations in your life because you are just stepping away from them and you're seeing them from a different perspective. Anyway, my cute little hostel room, or whatever you want to call it, hostel, I don't know, had a balcony. So I took a picture of myself because a lot of people were taking pictures of other people, and I had trouble of asking like, "Hey, can you take a picture of me?" because it just wasn't in my nature, but I wanted people to take pictures of me. But I couldn't at the time advocate for myself because I wasn't at that level of being able to advocate for myself. And I think this is where a lot of pivotal moments changed for me, where I wanted to advocate for myself, where I wanted to know and learn and grow and change, and like all these realizations came into play. They might not necessarily have started yet, but they were in the works, because I don't want to say they started in Italy because they didn't. I made a lot of mistakes in Italy. I made a lot of mistakes after Italy. I feel like this year and like last summer were like the first summers, or first years that I've really seen a lot of growth in myself. I feel like this was a pivotal moment, though, for me to really gain perspective. And, like, I just want to show you guys this beautiful view. Like, you cannot tell me that looking out at that view would make you feel some type of way, or wouldn't make you feel some type of way, because it definitely did. Anyway, so I spent a couple of days in Rome with everybody. I explored. I ate so much food. And it was great because I had such a fun time exploring and getting to like do all of these things. And finally got somebody to take a picture of me. It wasn't the greatest picture because I had a cute dress on and shoes, and like one thing about traveling is you're either going to be comfortable or you're going to be cute. If you want to wear heels while walking, by all means, but I was wearing comfortable shoes. However, I'm sure there are comfortable shoes out there that could have matched that outfit better, but I digress. I saw some incredible sights, and I genuinely really appreciate just the time that I had in Italy. Here I am drinking a Sex on the beach, because I don't want to say I was like in that stage of like a breakup, of like where you are just trying to have fun because you know that it's over, and you know that like the person that you thought you were going to be with is like no longer in your life. They're not coming back. And there was a lot of drama surrounding that still, which maybe I'll get into, maybe I won't, but I was having the time of my life on this beach, and I was enjoying every opportunity to post about Italy, because how cool is it that I got to go by myself, like, and just have fun. obviously I was with other people, but just the general feeling of not being there with him and going by myself was like the most uplifting experience, because I didn't think I could do it and I was doing it. And I think that's the main point that I was trying to make, is that like I can do anything. Like if I put my mind to it, I can do it. And it was almost like encouraging myself and trying to say like, you are so much more than you think you are, and you can frickin' do whatever you want to do. You might have this like low self-esteem, but girl, you can get through anything. You've gotten through abuse, you've gotten through shitty relationships, you've gotten through breakups, you've gotten through having the dad that you have, which is a whole other story. You have gotten through an eating disorder, you've gotten through going to a inpatient mental facility, you've gone through suicide attempts, jumping off of a cliff. Like, what makes you think that you can't travel by yourself? Like, I was just like trying to hype myself up because like I was doing it. I was in a different country, tried to learn Italian, did not go very well, and I could do it. And I was hyping myself up in this like moment in time. Like, there has been so much that happened in my life, and like I'm like, I can do it, you know? And I was actively doing it, and I was proud of myself, and as I should be, and as you should be if you go anywhere. This is like my encouragement to like go solo travel, because for real, it's fun. But anyway, let's move on. So, if I can even show you guys the pictures. So, I definitely had a fun time. Like, come on. Like, it's just so freaking beautiful in Italy. Like, there is no other site that is so beautiful than another country. Jokes aside, I know that other areas in the United States are beautiful. However, I happen to live in places where the beauty is different, because this beauty is just a whole type of different. Like the Trevi Fountain, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Anyway, I had a grand old time, and I loved every moment of everything. The catacombs. This is the fun fact. I did not take this picture because you cannot take pictures in the Roman catacombs. I grabbed that from online, but I still posted it because I probably could have taken a picture of that area and wouldn't have gotten in trouble. However, I was not about to get in trouble if I was not supposed to have a picture. So I grabbed this from Google. The only picture I have from Google. But I like that I have that picture because it's where I was. Even if I didn't actively take that picture, I saw that view. Anyway, I'm just gonna keep on going through this. So obviously, I had the best time. I saw a lot of architecture. I got to explore the Colosseum. I got to explore what I never thought I would get to explore, right? And all I have to say is when you solo travel, you have to take everything in. Take pictures as you wish. Every tourist does. There is no fault if you want to take a picture. But I just have to say, like, it's an experience that you will never forget. And even though I don't remember every single moment on this trip, I do remember having fun. And I do remember seeing some of these sites and feeling so blown away. Like, I cried at the Coliseum. Not to do with the architecture, which it should have been because it was just so beautiful, but that was where I had imagined that Jeff wanted to propose to me. Which I'm glad it didn't happen. Everything happens for a reason. And like, it was a bittersweet moment for me at the time because I had come to that realization that like that chapter in my life was closing, if not already closed. But I still had the best time with everyone that I got to love and know. A couple days later, this is August 21st, 2022, I drank too much vodka, and I kid you not, there was like no mixers left, and I don't know if it was because I didn't want to inconvenience anybody, but I did not take a lot of mixer in my drink, and I should have. I probably poured the opposite portions. Like, as much mixer you were supposed to have, I had vodka. And as much vodka you're supposed to have, I had mixer. And I also think I didn't realize, like, what my actions were going to lead to. And I had I had drunk way too much that night. And I also did not have enough water to accommodate that. And I'm pretty sure I didn't really eat that much. Or maybe I did, but it was just so long ago that it didn't matter. But I went to the hospital that night. I had COVID and alcohol poisoning. So when I woke up in that hospital, I was with two, I want to say like 80-year-old women. They literally, one of them was so pale, she looked like she was on her deathbed. And this was like a COVID unit, right? So I had no idea what was going on. They put me, because I tested positive for COVID, they put me in this room of like COVID, and then obviously I had alcohol poisoning. So I was like, I was throwing up blood. I was, God knows, like, it was awful. I had my phone. I had some of my stuff. It was very weird. Like, I do thank the girl that had helped me, because I guess I don't remember. I blacked out. I remember, the last thing I remember was being up there with everybody and like having a fun time. I don't remember getting downstairs. I don't remember throwing up on my shoes, the sidewalk. I don't remember any of it. I genuinely, that was like one of the few times I had blacked out and just don't remember. And this was from a dumb decision. This was from me drinking too much. This is from me not advocating for myself, because I literally like was like, yeah, it's whatever, you know? I literally did not know how to advocate for myself. I didn't know how to ask for more, like, mixer. I figured I would be fine. I don't know. Did I think I was invincible? I have no idea. I just made dumb decisions without thinking it over, and that's like ultimately what happened. But also having COVID on top of it, I think was a huge difference, because having COVID in and of itself sucks. It's awful. And the first time I had it, I was bedridden for at least a week. Like, it had hit me hard as a type 1 diabetic. But the fact that, like, I had it in Italy, and I remember not feeling well before this night out, but I had no idea that it was COVID. I had thought, oh, this is, me being tired because I'm having late nights and waking up early for Italy. Like, it's just me exhausted because I'm having this jam-packed trip. And I'm pretty sure either that day or like the day before, I had like sort of went on my own. I was shopping. I was like not doing the tasks that were assigned. I don't want to say tasks that were assigned to us, but there was like an option for a pasta making class, and I didn't feel good, so I didn't go. And I'm glad I didn't go because I had COVID and I didn't know it. And God knows, like, I would be making food. I hope it wouldn't have touched anyone else's food. But I'm so thankful that I didn't go because I didn't feel well, because who knows what that class would have been like if I had went. And anyway, that's besides the point. I had clearly gotten COVID from traveling, and I'm not quite sure how, because I had tested negative before I even got on that plane. And I'm wondering if somebody on that plane had COVID, maybe the person next to me, because if I'm not mistaken, I think the person next to me was like coughing and hacking. So I don't know. I don't know. There were a lot of people coughing and hacking when I was in Italy too. So I have no idea. It was so hard for me to like pinpoint, did I get it from some rando? Did I get it from somebody on the trip? I have no idea how I got it. But because I am a type 1 diabetic, of course I am going to get it the easiest because I have an immunodeficiency. Like I don't have a great immune system. So if you have COVID, I'm probably going to catch it. And it was a hard realization because like I wanted to go to Greece. There was so much I wanted to do in Greece that like I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Like now I can't have fun? Like of course I want to be in Greece and have fun. But I was stuck in Rome and I had to quarantine for a full week. And then I was flown home. So that's kind of how my story ends with that experience. But I must say, I needed a break, and the universe gave it to me. They were like, you don't need to go to Greece, maybe another time. You need to chill the fuck out. And it was nice because I slept a lot. I slept a lot when I quarantined. I made content like on TikTok and stuff, just, you know, whatever, having fun, being silly, selfish, foolish. Like I was just trying to like pass the time really. I got these. These are the most amazing little cookies. I loved them. And then that's kind of all, because what's next is me and Tori in September getting myself flowers, going to Black Bear. But I had made a lot of content on TikTok that's now deleted because it was petty me. Basically, Jeff had given my number to this girl that did not like me for whatever reason. And she is obsessed with Tori's boyfriend, the girl that I showed you a picture of. And she just infuses herself in all the drama and decided to make fake numbers so that she could text and call and harass me, and literally did this for like weeks, right? And I had learned that like there are certain people that you should and shouldn't trust with information. And like Tori and I were kind of testing the waters of who's going to tell who what. And I was talking to this girl when I got back from Italy. I actually matched with her, I think, while I was in Italy. Because so I was going to go on a date with a guy in Italy. That never ended up happening because I was not feeling it. This was like before the whole COVID thing happened, by the way. I was like on Bumble just swiping because I'm like, if I'm going to be in Italy, maybe I should just experience like the men and women there. And mind you, at the time, I was out as bisexual. Like, it was known that like I liked men and women. And it was known that like I, you know, swung both ways or whatever you want to call it. Like, obviously it's so weird to say now because I don't swing both ways. Like, I literally have to mentally prepare myself to suck a dick. So clearly I don't like men. I'm gonna laugh at that every time that I have to mentally prepare myself to see a dick and to put my mouth on one. Gross. God, this is so not for children. But my point is that I, at the time, identified as bisexual, so I had my filters set to men and women, and I was talking to people, whatever, and there was this one guy, and I kind of don't even remember what happened. I just think I stopped talking to him. Like, he was cute, but I really wasn't that interested. Like, I was scared more than I was interested, if that makes sense. Because, like, the thought of going on a date with a guy, an Italian man or an Italian woman, was like, yes, that would be so fun. However, I was terrified of, like, being kidnapped and, like, sold to sex slavery. Granted, they probably wouldn't want to keep me because I'm a diabetic, so, like, I would die without insulin. So maybe, just maybe, that will keep me from getting kidnapped. Because I would simply say, I am going to die without insulin and I'm going to be of no use to you. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I mean, I'm not really kidding. That's kind of true. But it's just funny, I guess, that, like, I'm imagining myself getting kidnapped. I don't know. Anyway, obviously, because I was so nervous, I ended up saying, forget it. And I decided that I was just going to swipe on people back in Connecticut. So I changed my filters. And mind you, at the time, I think I was paying for the apps for like a short period of time so I could do this. Because, like, I'm in Italy in a hotel room now. Like, what am I going to do? So once I, was confined to a room because of COVID, that's when I changed my filters to Connecticut. And I kept it for men and women for a while. But I had started matching with women, and I was the type of woman at the time to just shoot my shot, right? Say, hey, what's up? How are you? Blah, blah, blah. Whatever intro I came up with, I did it. And I ended up meeting this girl who, I think I've talked about her before. I feel like I have. Who came to be Anna. And I obviously had a relationship with her and all that jazz, but that's not what this is about, so I'm going to keep it short and sweet. But after I got back home, I had slept with a man that I had this kind of fantasy crush on. And I want to say it's a fantasy crush because I think I had a crush on who I thought he was going to be versus who he actually is. And when I slept with him, I felt absolutely nothing. And when I slept with Anna, I immediately was like, I'm gay. I literally, like, came to that realization because I had slept with another woman before. I'd kissed other women before. I had a relationship with a woman before. But I think what came to the realization was I was finally getting comfortable with liking women and comfortable with that portion of my sexuality that I didn't care about not liking men. And I think that's what I was the most afraid of, is it's almost more socially acceptable in some people's eyes to be bisexual, because there's still that possibility of being with a man. So that's how I identified since I was 13. Like, I was bisexual, I liked men and women. Like, that's what I told everybody. That's what I told myself. That's what I told my mom. Like, and I think being raised in the religions that I was raised in, like, I never was baptized. However, my mom was Catholic and my dad was Jehovah's Witness. So if you know anything about those religions, being gay is like a sin. And I think that it was hard because my parents, more specifically my mom, kind of, I don't want to say she doesn't have faith, but I think that because she doesn't actively like practice and go to church, it was a lot easier for her to be open to my sexuality. Whereas my dad, like, God forbid I liked a woman, like, basically. And I feel like when I finally, like, came out to my mom the second time, she was a lot more accepting. And I think it's because being queer was a lot more seen these days. Like, if anyone knows who Chrishell is from Selling Sunset, my mom used Chrishell as an example of seeing a queer couple. And it was amazing to me that when I was 13 and I came out, it's just a phase. And when I came out later at, 25, it was, I just want to see you happy. And I think that it was a lot, to take on. And I think my mom meant no ill will towards it when I was 13. I think her thought process was, I was so young, I need to give it a shot. But I think I always knew. And I just played into liking the most feminine men I could find, and going with that. And it was funny because I had tried to like manlier men. Like, I would see guys with beards and mustaches and I'd be like, that's so gross, but like I would force myself to like it. And I think that, like, pushing myself to like men, like, it became a problem because I felt so forced into liking men that I didn't really ever know what love really was. And, it sucks because I was so scared to tell my mom a second time and be like, no, Mom, I don't like men. I'm sorry. Like, I wish I did, but I can't. Like, I have no connection. God, I did not expect myself to cry about this. But, coming to like my mom, I was so scared to tell her because it's like this kind of like stigma around, lesbian women and just liking women that's like scary, Like, you don't know if you're going to be accepted by your own family. You don't know what other people are going to think of you. And I think for the first time after so long, I had realized I was hiding because I was scared of upsetting the people that I loved and cared about. And I was scared of being myself because I did not know what was going to happen to me, I remember when I was younger, like, a friend had come out to me and said that she was gay. And I didn't know how to feel or what to say. And it was almost like I wanted her to like me. And she didn't like me. She liked another one of her friends. But it was like this kind of like hope of like, do you see me, now that I think of it, it was almost this hope of like, do you see me and who I am, or am I just hiding behind this like image that I projected of like a woman who it is forced to like men because of religion, because of faith, because of family, and because of what other people would think. And whew, God, you guys. Okay, yeah, no, we're not doing the glasses right now. I can see close, but I can't see far, so we're not doing the glasses right now. Um, but I don't know. I think that I actually had another friend that came out to me, which I find interesting at the same time, because I was like, why are these girls coming out to me? Like, what do they see in me? Hello, lesbian, closeted. Um, sorry, I had to. But no, I had another friend that came out to me, and I didn't know what to say, what to think. And this was around high school. And I felt so guilty because I probably could not have reacted worse. Um, I mean, I probably could have, but I remember not acting very well to her opening up to me. And I feel so bad because I wish I could have been a safe space. But because I was closeted and I was going through my own problems with sexuality, like nobody knew I was bisexual. I identified as a bisexual woman, but for everyone in high school, for all purposes, I was straight. I was dating men. And I think it's scary because I came out to everybody individually before I ever came out online. Um, as a bisexual, as gay, like every time I came out, I would come out individually, gauging if somebody was a safe space. And when this girl came out to me in high school, I was thrown off because I was dealing with my own problems with like being biphobic, gayphobic, like gayphobic, homophobic, I don't know. I was dealing with my own issues because I was like had this internalized homophobia of like, you know, everyone that's ever taught me anything is saying that being gay is bad. So I don't know what to do here. And I feel like, I know I've been talking a lot, but I feel like when I came out after Anna and I like had this U-Haul connection and we slept together and we had a crazy amount of time where we would just talk all the time. I was like, and I finally said like I'm gay. Like it had such an effect on me. I cried. It was like this weight was lifted off of my shoulders. It was like I felt like years of pain just disappeared. And not like disappeared, but like it was almost just like the weight had been lifted off of my shoulders, the mask had come down, and I could be myself. Because I finally admitted to myself who I was. And honestly, I did not expect this episode to be what it is now, but I think it's really important to talk about because I had gone through this solo travel experience as one person, and when I came back and when I had reflected on my experiences when I had that week long, you know, I had COVID and I had this week long, you know, isolation period, I got to reflect on who I was. And I didn't really plan it, but I had slept with a man and a woman for the experience and for the knowledge that I needed. And I feel like I have come so far from even that point in my life of just being able to look back on everything, looking back on like female friendships and being jealous of like them having other friends or me not being close enough with them. Like, it makes sense to me now. And like being jealous of certain women because like I wanted to be them or I wanted to be with them, but it's not how it works. Like, it's just my mind now realizes how much has changed and how the life path that I took was definitely not the easiest one, but it was what I needed to come to the realizations that I needed. Yeah. It's a lot to unpack, but I just think that overall, I'm so glad of going through what I've gone through because I am the person that I am today. And I have made a lot of mistakes. I know y'all were waiting on that one. I had made a lot of mistakes, but I think that you cannot be human without making mistakes. I don't think that you can learn without making mistakes of your own. Like, obviously, like, your parents will make mistakes or like friends, and you'll see people make mistakes and you'll be like, I won't do that. But there are so many lessons to learn in this life and in this lifetime that until you go through those life lessons, you will not grow and you will not know a dang thing about yourself. And I think I'm so glad to have the experience that I had, even though it was not the experience I was expecting or wanting. It was the experience I needed to be the person that I am today, and I am okay with that. And I now know what to do, what to look out for, and I also know that I'm going to be okay no matter what. And I know that I can always travel again. Maybe it won't be to the same places. Maybe it'll be to London. Maybe it'll be to Paris. Maybe it'll be to Greece. Who knows? But whatever the case may be, I know that I am going to live life from here on out, making mistakes that are different and learning from them, and trying my best every day to be a good human being. Obviously, that's not always going to happen. I'm going to make mistakes, and that's why I'm setting myself up to say, hey, if I make mistakes, that's okay, but I'm going to wake up and try to be a good human being every day of my life, no matter what. That's like, truly, I could not ask for more at this point in my life than to just try to be a good human being, try to be the best version of myself that I can be, and also just go through life experiencing life and being happy, because that's all we could ever want for ourselves, is just to be happy. But anyway, I know that this was a longer episode. I'm probably going to tie in solo travel and my coming out experience into this episode now. But I know that I've also kind of talked about my coming out experience before, but I think I just overall needed to talk about everything to make everything make sense, because it all happened around the same time. But anyway, the dogs are barking, and I have talked long enough. I thank you guys so much for listening, watching. I love you guys, and I will see you soon on Many Mistakes Ago podcast.